I think there's been a vibe shift in this country, captured by the election in early November, and also based on the content that people are consuming right now, including Landman. And in Landman, you see a much more pragmatic approach to things like fossil fuels, oil and energy, and the kind of work that your company does. Do you think we are seeing that, a more pragmatic approach to the energy story now?
I think there's no question we're seeing that. I mean, you know, take a look at this administration that has come in, and rather than criticizing and almost in some ways ostracizing oil and gas, it's an administration that has talked about American energy abundance and using that to the benefit of the American economy, the competitiveness of American business, but not just oil and gas. You know, the grid is a big thing for the administration and power generation. And so I think we're seeing a more balanced conversation. It's something I've been calling for years is, you know, in energy, there are three things that matter, John. Affordability, because that underpins economic prosperity. Reliable supply, because that relates to security and national security, and then environmental impact. And we have to balance those three things as we talk about energy. The conversation had become very unbalanced and focused on one of the three and not the other two. And I think we're seeing a move back towards a more balanced, and you use the word pragmatic. I think that's a very good word for the shift that we are seeing.
We definitely are hearing the shift in the conversation. We heard that at Davos, even though you weren't there. We missed you. I am curious about how much that translates into actual changes that you're making on the ground with how much you're investing, how much you're planning to expand your footprint in the United States and elsewhere.
Yeah, we grew production last year 7% globally, almost 20% here in the U.S., largest production we've ever had in our history. Largest cash distribution to our shareholders. So we are growing. We're also doing it in a more capital efficient way. So we've been focused on getting more bang for each dollar of capital. You guys are talking a lot about capital this morning. And in a capital intensive industry, we have to always look for ways to be as capital efficient as we can be and as disciplined as we can be. And so we're able to bring new energy supplies to the market at a lower capital investment rate than ever before. We'll grow again this year in the United States, another 10% or so in the Permian. So demand for energy is at an all-time high, and it's only going up.
Last year, you had a record production, even under an administration that had a very different tone toward the oil and gas administration, the oil and gas industry. I just wonder how the vibe shift will change what your outlook is at a time when the rhetoric has shifted to the positive, but some of the proposals like tariffs might be headwinds in certain places.
Yeah, so I think your point's a good one, Lisa. The rhetoric kind of sets the mood music, but you actually have to see policy, right? And some of that's done through executive order these days. A lot of it would be best done through legislation. And we would like to work with both sides of the aisle to implement durable, balanced and pragmatic energy policy. Things like permitting reform, which have gotten a lot of conversation, but we really haven't seen action yet on that. And it's difficult to build anything in this country, not just pipelines and infrastructure for our industry, but new power generation and grid modernization and other types of infrastructure. So we hope and are certainly willing to work with parties from across the spectrum to try to turn some of this vibe shift or more balanced conversation into what we think is good, durable policy.